This past weekend in Flagstaff, I was racing my first ever last man standing or backyard ultramarathon, and well, things didn't exactly go as planned. I fell short of my goal of running 100 miles. In fact, I only made it about 2/3 of the way, running just under 68 miles total. I was not feeling well, and I'm pretty disappointed with the result. But despite what happened this past weekend, I thought I could use this opportunity to show you guys how I and how you can get over a bad race result and bounce back and come back even better than before. Let's get right into it. Step one of the process, I believe, is to assess exactly what went wrong during the race. For me, I think it was a few things. I got up to Flagstaff on Thursday night. We drove out here from California about 7 hours, and right when I got up there, pretty much, I was not feeling too well. I had a headache I could not get rid of. I just really wasn't feeling my healthiest. I wasn't sure if it was because of the elevation that I wasn't used to. I know there was a massive fire in Flagstaff this past weekend. It was causing a lot of smoke in the air that I could definitely feel in my lungs, and very windy weather, but yeah, I just wasn't really feeling that well. And how I felt 50 miles in on race day compared to how I felt 2 weeks ago when I did 50 practice miles, 12 hours worth of laps, was totally night and day. 50 miles 2 weeks ago, I just had some general soreness, but I really felt pretty good overall from a healthy body standpoint. And 50 miles in on race day, I was already pretty broken down and just not feeling it. I think ultimately what was my downfall though was a gastrointestinal issue. My stomach was just not having it. Probably 35, 40 miles in, I was really having trouble taking in solid foods, and it felt like I was gonna throw up for probably the last 5 hours of laps or so. It just really wasn't working out. I couldn't get down solid foods. I don't know if it was something that I had, but yeah, it just was not happening. Execution-wise, I think I missed the mark a little bit when it came to pacing during the race. I actually think I ended up going too slow. My plan was to go, a lot slower than I had gone on my 50 practice miles a couple weeks before, because those I was going maybe 7:45, 8-minute pace. But on race day, the first few laps, I was running like 42 to 44 minutes for 4 miles, so around 10:30 to 11-minute pace. And I think it was so slow to the point where my body really wasn't used to it. I was kind of switching up and compromising my stride and started using muscles and getting sore in places I really wasn't used to. So I think I definitely overcompensated in that department and should have been running more like 8:30, 9-minute pace right from the get-go. 5 laps in, just under 21 miles. It's all right, it's windy, it's hot. Legs are feeling a little bit more tired than I would like after only 20 miles, but I think it's just because I'm running so slow. I don't know, it's just tough to run this slow. It feels weird, it feels different. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just taking it one leg at a time, kind of just feeling it out. And don't even get me started on the shoe situation. I brought 2 pairs of shoes, my main pair that I was planning on running in, and then just a backup trail shoe just in case. I ended up leaving my number 1 priority shoe at the Airbnb on the patio, and so I had to run in the trail shoes, which isn't the worst thing ever, but not shoes I really ever run in pretty much ever. I'd probably put like less than 100 miles total on them, so that was another thing, totally my fault, but another factor that I think maybe made a small difference in the race. But like I said, I really think it was my physical health, from my stomach to my headache, and overall I just really did not feel very good going into the race, and that definitely showed its effects, especially 10 plus hours into the race. So now that we have identified exactly what went wrong on race day, it's time to own and take responsibility for my result and accept the fact that I was underprepared and was not able to execute on that day of the race. Of the 30 people that started the race, I believe I was 5th. The 4 runners that were ahead of me were, simply put, much better runners than me on that given day. And it is what it is. I'm a big believer in you're only as good as your last at bat. So yeah, I think there are definitely things I could have done to better prepare. I could have gotten better sleep the last few days or the last week or two leading up to the race, taking care of my body better so I was in better health. I shouldn't have experimented with foods I was not used to on race day. I think that might have accounted for some of my stomach issues during the race. And yeah, fact is, these people were much better prepared, much better at racing these backyard ultramarathons, and that's what it is. I fell short of my goal, and I think it's very, very important to own and accept and take responsibility when you do fall short of what you want, because then when you do accomplish your goals and you do do what you wanted to do or even exceed them, you can take responsibility for that as well. So yeah, full transparency. Obviously, every race I have is not the best race. Sometimes results are disappointing. This one definitely was, and that's just exactly how it is. So I think taking responsibility is a big part of getting over a bad race result and getting back on your feet quicker. And the last thing, at least for me, for getting over a bad race result is, of course, getting back to it. But I think the timeline can look very different for every single person. I know some people maybe have a bad race and like to get back to it right away and, kind of get back on the horse and start training. I think that's great. I know a lot of other people want to take some downtime, make sure their body is 100%. I know for me personally, I think I'm going to be racing pretty quickly again next month. I already have my eyes set on another race, probably in 6 to 7 weeks or so. So yeah, I'm going to be getting back at it pretty quickly again, but I think that looks different for every person. And I think it's really important to check in with yourself, make sure that those goals are still the same, make sure your body has recovered properly, because a lot of times, even if you put an entire training block and you end up not having the greatest result, you still have a lot of stress that you've built up through your body, the last however long it's been, 12, 16, 20 weeks, however long the buildup has been to that race. So just keep that in mind. Even though it's a bad race result, you still maybe need to give your body some time, and maybe especially your mind some time to just think about things, soak it all in, and yeah, assess when you personally are ready to get back at it. But make sure, of course, that you do eventually get back at it. I think that's going to look different for everybody. So some overall stats from the race. I believe I ran 66.8 miles, basically 67 miles, which is still the most I've ever run in one day's time. My previous record before that was around 62 miles, 100 kilometers. In this race, I ran about 107K. Honestly, even way before that, I was not feeling great. Like I said, around 50 miles, things were not going well, but I really, really wanted to push just to get to my one-day personal record, and I was able to do that. So that's a small silver lining of this. 67.88 miles, 16 laps total, 5th overall of 30 people. I would like to hear from you guys down below in the comments. Let me know what is the antidote to a less than stellar performance or race, because I know everyone does it a little bit different. Personally, for me though, those are the 3 things I do to help myself after a bad race result and get back at it. I'm excited for what's to come in the future, and I'll see you guys very, very soon in another video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, be good humans, do good things, search for happiness. Peace.